What if you don't need to live in pain and suffering? What if you could give up your karma and have a life of abundance and joy? What if you could start creating magic and miracles that you never thought were possible? Get ready to listen, share, and experience the magic that is you. Now, here's the host of Creating Abundance with Ease radio show, Dr. Helen Gitlovich.
Welcome, I'm Dr. Helen Gitlovich on Creating Abundance with Ease, and today our show is Painting with Earth Being with amazing guest and my friend Bettina Madini. Imagine creative art with all the elements of the planet, dancing with the water, air, the soil, the fire, being here on the earth and having a physical body. We're pretty much creating the earth already, all the time. But are we always aware of it? And what else is the earth beyond the elements? What else can we invite into our art studio, create with our awareness and admiration? And I would add to our lives, what can we create with earth? Could it be possible that earth is inviting us to create way greater, way more joyfully, and be more daring, admiring, and adventurous with our creation and our lives? And I just want to introduce Bettina today, who is not just amazing contemporary European artist, designer, and wonder-aficionado, who combines luscious colors and expressive motion in her paintings and fashion accessories, but also a facilitator of access consciousness and very conscious being. She was born and raised in Berlin, Germany, and laid her ground for artistic breakthrough in Luxembourg in '92 when she joined the Conservatory of Music and Art. So welcome, Bettina. So excited to have you on my show.
Thank you so much, Helen, for having me here. And what is possible? What can we inspire? And what can I contribute to you and to your beautiful radio show?
I wonder. So let's talk about our topic today, because it's so inspiring. Painting with earth being. What does it mean?
Yeah, what does it mean, painting with earth beings? Like, I have... What?
Who are they?
Oh, well, yes, who are they? That's actually a great question. And we never really consider that there is maybe something else around us, things that we don't see with our physical eyes, or maybe what I also, of course, include is nature, like, can we paint with the trees? Can we dance with the flowers? Like when I'm, at times I paint out and about in nature. And so it might be this tree that is inviting me to paint it. Once I have a story, actually. One of my brilliant teachers, Shirley anymore, she took me out painting an old apple tree. So it was this old apple tree on a farm in Wisconsin, and the two of us were out there, and we dragged everything through the field and to this tree that she had known, like an earth being, right? It's like, how many of our listeners have known a tree, like where there is a true communication going on? Otherwise, Shirley would not have remembered the tree. She said, you have to see this apple tree. So it's a being that has its own energy, that has like a personality. The apple tree. Okay, so we went there, and I had my oils with me, and I started painting. And the moment I start painting, I'm actually sort of dissolving into everything there. So I became one with the flowers, the butterflies, and then I heard deer in the distance, and say in my space. They were in our space. So we were one with our little picnic that we had, and the car had taken an early spring breeze, and we were all in fleeces and snuggled up. And what a wonderful moment. I will never forget it. This is what I mean with painting with earth beings, where the sort of time stops. There's no time. It is not relevant. It doesn't exist. It is the breathing, it is the paint, it is my friend, it is the tree, nature, whatever eagle is flying, or maybe it's a mosquito flying, it's everything is there. And I invite all of those in, even the mosquitoes. That's a little joke on the side. And creating with them. So I never really know what is going to show up, and they come into my painting. So this apple tree painting that is now in Berlin has a little white butterfly that is in there. And I love this. I just enjoy it so much.
That's brilliant. And I love it because I know I had the same experience. Well, not the same, but similar experiences with plants, with animals. And you remind me, I was on a tour, I think it was Martinique Island, and they have mimosa plant, which is a tiny, it's not a mimosa flower, which is different, but mimosa plant, which is a tiny plant, which is very sensitive. And if you touch it, it actually closes down. And then eventually it opens up. And I decided to kind of like touch it, of course. I wanted to communicate. And at first I kind of like every tourist, kind of like went there and kind of like tried to pat it like an animal. And it's kind of like closed. And I started talking to it. It's like, I'm sorry if I offended you. What can I be for you? What contribution can I be? And I had my hand there. And suddenly the plant actually opened up and literally touched me. And that was such an amazing feeling of communion with the plant, but it's not just with the plant, it was a communion with nature, with earth, with the universe. It was much bigger, just like you said, time stopped. It was irrelevant at that moment. And we forget that in our daily lives.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I'm so grateful for you to be on my shows. So maybe, especially for me, all my shows, all my Zooms, all my classes are for me. I'm selfish. It's interesting because my daughter asked me yesterday, it's like, what do you do for self-care? I'm like, everything, like the radio, or the show, the podcast. And she's like, wait, that's for others. I was like, nope, that's for me.
Yeah.
And so hopefully with our conversation, me included, we'll start paying more attention to the earth beings. And can you say more of, I know how is not a good word, but how do you communicate with them? Or any kind of like tips to create that communion?
Yeah. Oh, I'm happy to, because we can even be that inside our studios. We don't have to be really out there in order to invite all these beings or to invite nature, because in a way, like, everything is made from earth, right? Even if you are downtown New York City, on Times Square, like everything, that all the buildings, all the steel, everything is earth material. So it's all earth. So when I'm in my studio, I'm asking questions, you all might heard in Access Consciousness, we ask questions. So it's like, okay, who can I invite to paint with me today? Who is here and what is here? And So when I'm starting a painting, it's a blank open, not only canvas, but space. I never know what I'm going to paint, and I dance with colors. So what is here that I can create with? Who would like to chime in? Like, for sure, I invite the air that I'm breathing, right? And I love playing with water. It's like I paint with acrylic, like it's water-based. So what can I create with water today? What do the molecules of water know?
Yeah, that's so wonderful. I forget to ask, and that's actually the major tool of access, is asking questions or being the question. And that's probably we can talk about, because every week we have a tool of the week. So asking questions, inviting the spirits of Earth.
Yes.
And he just reminded me when I was in Israel at the Dead Sea, I remember when I was in the water, I suddenly felt or perceived or sensed the spirits of the sea, the spirits of the mountain, the spirits of the land. All of them kind of almost came out and talked. It's about dropping our barriers
Mm-hmm.
and letting the awareness, the communication in. Like right now, I'm sitting in a jungle. I mean, I'm in a room. The house is in the jungle. But I can see all the plants outside, and I know there is a road behind those plants, but the plants themselves are here in the show. It's so wonderful. Like, it's almost like a warm feeling, warm, fuzzy feeling of communion.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow, time flies. It's time for our first break of the show. And you've been listening to Creating Abundance with this, well, with myself, Dr. Helen Gitlovich, and today with the guest, Bettina Madini, on the Inspired Choices Network. And we'll be right back.
Many of us live our lives based on karma, on the past, and all the unfinished business in our lives. What would you choose if you did not have karma, or if you could choose what you desired instead? By tuning into Creating Abundance with Ease radio show with Dr. Helen Gitlovich, you'll receive tools and inspiration you can use to create the abundance in your life. You are an infinite being with infinite choices. Are you ready to have ease with creating abundance? Listen for Creating Abundance with Ease radio show every Wednesday at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 11 a.m. Central, 10 a.m. Mountain, and 9 a.m. Pacific on InspiredChoicesNetwork.com.
Are you a subject matter expert? Are you here to share your expertise with an audience waiting to hear from you in only the way you can deliver? Are you ready to have your voice amplified across the airwaves? Inspired Choices Network has a global radio platform streaming to millions of people across the world. Professionally produced and supported by an accomplished team every step of the way, you can broadcast from anywhere in the world, knowing your voice matters, and we ensure it is delivered with ease and efficiency. Eager to hear your message, the world awaits. Contact us today to become an Inspired Choices Network radio host. Email become a host at inspiredchoicesnetwork.com.
This is the Creating Abundance with Ease show with Dr. Helen Gitlovich. To participate in the program, join our live studio audience in our chat room at inspiredchoicesnetwork.com. You can also make the choice to ask or comment by email by sending to helen.g@att.net. Now, back to the program.
Welcome forward, everyone. I'm Dr. Helen Gitlovich on Creating Abundance with Ease. And before I tell you about my show today, I'd like to share exciting news. Inspired Choices Network now has its own mobile app. You can download it from Apple or Android, and you can listen to the podcast live or in the recording. And whenever you are, it doesn't stop. I know when you listen now on a Safari or on Chrome, if you get out to answer, well, not so much answer the call because that will stop that too. But if you check the text messages, it stops. With the app, it doesn't have to stop. And it's totally free. And it is also Inspired Choices Network, kind of like a special gift if you download and kind of rate it if you like it. So now back to our show. And today we have Painting with Earth Being with our amazing guest, Bettina Madini. And Bettina, I know you also have the wearable art. Can you tell me more about that a little bit?
Of course, I am happy to. I have always created, even when I was in high school, I have always created my own clothing. It's like I learned and then taught myself to sew and so forth. So it has always been part of my journey. And it was then, I was here in Wisconsin in the United States, and it was a friend of mine who said to me, Bettina, people should be able to wear your art. And that sent me on a journey. And while I was in New York City before Wisconsin, I had started to actually hand knit beautiful, one-of-a-kind stoles for myself, Helen, for myself, because, as this European creature, I came to New York City and I was actually freezing in the subway. I was freezing in the stores. It was so cold. I was not used to air conditioning. And so I created these shoulder wraps for myself. I could just put them in my bag. And then when I got cold, throw them around or wrap them around, whatever. It was cool. And then whenever I wore mine, I just had screaming women around me. What? And where did you get this? And so, okay, I can make you one. Sometimes I sold them off of my body, and until one day I had to promise to my body not to sell this one. And so I started making these, and I found, well, okay, people like them. That's cool. And so when my friend said to me here in Wisconsin, people should be able to wear your art, that sent me on a journey. And I started looking into this. How can I, and what can I create with my art? And it was really a journey of 2 years, and it took me all over the planet. And I found an amazing team. And so I'm now taking my paintings, a painting like this, for instance, and I am taking it onto Photoshop and working with it and creating a design that will then get printed onto fabric, sewn, cut, and shipped. So we make every order by order, actually. I'm not piling up inventory. And that is also my way of contributing to the earth. When somebody orders on my website, we actually print the fabric for their order, cut and sew, and then ship it to them. And it's colorful, it's magical, and the name of them is Magical Bodies, because I see really this whole piece of, and this, the magic that bodies are, and bodies are willing to be so joyful, more joyful than we might be willing to be with our bodies. And so I see this as a contribution to bodies. It's like tattoos that you can take off and put on another one, if it's the leggings, for instance.
Yeah, it's amazing because when you wear the art, because I tried some of your pieces, and it was like wearing something healing, something that creates almost like a gentle opening for people. Can you speak a little bit more? Because I know there is a couple of stories with your art healing people.
Yes, there are stories. And, usually I don't share these stories because people will expect, oh, I need healing for my body, so I have to have this piece of silk, and then they have expectations, and we both know how expectations and projections can actually really get in the way of what is possible. But I'm very happy to talk with you here and for your beautiful listeners to talk about this. And this came totally unexpected. It's not that I'm sitting there, I hand paint silks, and I'm not sitting there like, oh, I'm going to make this healing art or whatever. I like, not at all. I'm having fun painting beauty, like flowers and water, and sometimes abstract. And I'm really there with this beautiful silk, large or small, and I'm painting and playing. And so people started buying them, and it's scarves, smaller scarves that you can also wear. And I get this feedback. I started getting this feedback, how there was this one person and her body could not retain any food. It was impossible. So somebody gifted her one of my scarves, and this woman intuitively placed it at night on her body. And next day she could eat. Her body started eating and retaining food. Another person also intuitively, like, here's a sidemark question, what do we all know, right? So that other person also intuitively placed the scarves overnight on her body, and she couldn't sleep before that for weeks. And that night she slept. And so I have these stories that are coming in, and it's totally out of my control. It's like art is out of control, and silk is so beautiful because it's soft and you can place it on your body. You can wrap it around, you can play with it. And what they are creating is absolutely wow, it's magical.
Yeah, it's amazing. That's and I know it's not for everybody, and everybody is not going to get healed. It's about what people choose. We always talk about choice, because if people are willing to receive the contribution of the molecules of the universe, they
exactly that, the receiving, right?
Yeah.
Like, what are we willing to receive? Like, even the women taking these scarves and placing them on their body, it's like, were they willing to receive something? Did they listen? Also, that's this other piece that you meant, listening to their bodies, right?
Yeah.
And how often do we not listen to our bodies?
Exactly. And I know you have a gift for people who are listening to our show today. It's
Yes.
show special, 20% of your shop starting April 21st through the 30th. And I believe you have a coupon, Abundance 21, all capital letters.
Yes, that is for my Etsy shop. And the address, you have it also for the listeners. And so it is 20% off starting today through April 30th with code Abundance21.
Yeah, that's wonderful. In your shop, you have the wearable art, right? And your paintings.
I have a few wearable art pieces and mostly paintings and prints.
Yeah, and those are gorgeous. And I can see one behind you right there.
Yes.
I love your art. It's so flowing and so healing, at least for me.
Thank you so much. Yeah, I have really fun painting them, and it has been an amazing journey. I'm still here because of my art.
Say more.
Well, yeah, it is. I had several moments in my life where I actually wanted to go, like these crossroads, right? So before going and finding this art school in Luxembourg, I was in banking, and so and personally, and like I was feeling so odd. It was way before access consciousness also. I never fit in, and then I also my body started to give me signs like I was not doing well, and I was depressed. I was really sad, and I could not, like, I knew this joy was possible. I knew there was so much more, and there were these invisible walls in my world. And like in a word, like in Luxembourg, all is banking and all the industries that feed into banking, but there was not a lot of creativity like art schools or so. And I was really getting depressed. And so then I made a request. I'm like, no, this is going to change. And at first I found the Conservatory of Music, started to take singing lessons. And then I found the art school and I started painting. And I was so lucky. My teacher, Jean-Marc Tosselot, he gave me space and allowed me to paint whatever came up. And I got a fabulous education in Kandinsky's color theory, where he made me sense color through my body, which is a huge gift. I learned how to sense color, how to include my body in the creation process, in the sensing of the painting. It was totally amazing. And so I remember my first painting was the only painting I actually used black paint. It's an explosion of my heart. And there is, in the painting, I painted it abstract, there is this little thing that floats up. And as I saw it, then as I saw the painting, I knew it was my being that was being set free. I set myself free. And it's the gift of art and the gift of painting that created this for me. I had a space for my being to finally express without confinement.
Yeah, that's so beautiful. Especially when you were talking about sensing the colors with your body, because colors are vibrations. And that reminded me of Kandinsky work, where he talks about music and colors, and they all have vibration. Just like music, vibration are healing, so is colors.
Yes. And I remember I when I went to my singing lessons, I then shared with my painting teacher that, Jean-Marc, when I'm painting, I hear music, but I cannot pinpoint it. It's like a galactic, like, music of the, I don't know what, spheres or something. And then when I'm singing, Jean-Marc, I see color inside of me, but not with my eyes. It's like, and he said, well, do you know about Kandinsky's theory? And I'm like, no, what's that? And so there is this, it is beautiful how the senses are connected. Everything is connected. Nothing is separate. We can paint with the entire universe.
Exactly. And that's what actually is. We are painting with the whole universe. And being a painter myself, I remember I had one of the teachers actually turning the music on. It was in watercolors. It was abstract. And she just said, okay, just paint. It was before I even had like formal instruction and my associate in fine art, all of that. She just said, okay, just paint. And I'm like, how? And then she's like, you will know. And the color started flowing on the canvas. I had no idea how or why. And a lot of times what I found also, it's not just painting the colors. It's also about our lives have colors. Because how many, and including my life, at a certain point, were kind of like dark colors. I could associate it in dark colors. And we'll talk more after our break. We have our second break of the show, and you've been listening to Creating Abundance with myself, Dr. Helen Gitlovich. And just before we go on a break, I just want to remind you about ICN app, Inspired Choices Network application that you can download from Apple or Android, totally free. And there is a contest going on. If you rate it and send it in, and there is explanation, I believe, in the app itself, and you can get some prizes, including private sessions, including with your truly. So, and today you've been listening to me, Dr. Helen Gitlovich, on Creating Abundance with Ease, and specifically with our guest, Bettina Madini, and we'll be right back.
Many of us live our lives based on karma, on the past, and all the unfinished business in our lives. What would you choose if you did not have karma, or if you could choose what you desired instead? By tuning into Creating Abundance with Ease radio show with Dr. Helen Gitlovich, you'll receive tools and inspiration you can use to create the abundance in your life. You are an infinite being with infinite choices. Are you ready to have ease with creating abundance? Listen for Creating Abundance with Ease radio show every Wednesday at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 11 a.m. Central, 10 a.m. Mountain, and 9 a.m. Pacific on InspiredChoicesNetwork.com.
Magic and abundance are everywhere. What if you could tap into abundance and start creating your life with complete and total ease? Working with Dr. Helen Gitlovich will give you exactly that, total ease in creating abundance in your life. Dr. Gitlovich creates classes all over the world, both in person and online. She works with you to create abundance with your money, with your body, with your relationships, with all areas of your life with total ease. Connect with Dr. Helen Gitlovich at creatingabundancewithease.com. Her contribution in your world will be a noticeable gift in a very short period of time. This is the Creating Abundance with Ease show with Dr. Helen Gitlovich. To participate in the program, join our live studio audience in our chat room at inspiredchoicesnetwork.com. You can also make the choice to ask or comment by email by sending to helen.g@att.net. Now, back to the program.
Welcome forward, everyone. And you've been listening to me, Dr. Helen Gitlovich, on Creating Abundance with Ease. And today our show is Painting with Earth, being with our guest, amazing Bettina Madini. And Bettina, can I ask you something? Because I know you're also a facilitator with Access Consciousness, an artist. And you facilitate classes that are kind of like on the borderline of both. So how does those two connect, if they are? And what tools are you using, and what tools can you recommend to people?
Yes, I'm very happy to talk about this. So my painting classes are very free form. And, I'm just wondering, for all you listeners, how much have you stopped your creativity because somebody said something new, like, you cannot do this, you cannot paint like this, oh, this is ugly, and you are not an artist because your brother is the artist in the family, so you cannot be the artist, you have to be something else. Or in my family. What?
It's so true for a lot of families.
Or in my family, the points of view were, as an artist, you will never have money. You will be like the starving one, because there is this archetype of the starving artist. There are even art fair. There's an art fair here that is the starving artist art fair. And I'm like, oh my God. And so in my workshops, I love revealing, like finding and helping people find these points of view that stopped us. It's like the moment we judge, we stop. And so I learned things, and I'm using these access tools, which are fabulous, that we can undo this. We can change this. Like, are artists' blocks actually real, or what are we avoiding? Are we procrastinating? And who does this all even belong to, which is a wonderful tool of access consciousness. So we paint free form, which is another thing for people. It's like, oh my God, what do I do now? Like, what? You are not telling us what to do? It's like, no, I will not have you paint by numbers. There are other classes where you can do that. There are a lot of them, and they give you wine and they give you, I don't know, beer or whatever, which you can have wine here too. Right now, live classes are a little bit on hold, but we are going to come back with in-person classes. So you can join an online class. And so we really undo points of view. And we literally turn paintings upside down also, which is something that I learned way back in Luxembourg, like change your point of view. And there are so many incredible, very inventive ways we come up with to judge our art, to judge our creations. We are really good at it. And so we look at that while playing with paint, with color, with the possibilities, being also inspired by each other, which is always wonderful when we can see what is somebody else creating. And the moment that one person shares where they are judging their art or their creations or their bodies or their life, this will always also change something for everybody else. And this is what I love about coming together in an online studio space.
Amazing, because it's actually remind me too of my classes when I was painting upside down. And the painting actually was turning out much better than right side up, because I didn't have a point of view about it. I was just making the lines to connect and the colors, what I saw. The point of view changed. There was no importance of the object itself. And I remember I think it was shoes that we were painting, like the whole bunch of shoes in like a shoe rack. And yeah, when I was trying to make out the shape, what I thought would shoe look like, it didn't. But the upside down one was totally different, because the point of view was shifting and I didn't have the preconceived notion. So how much can we apply that to the real life?
Oh, not at all. Not at all. You cannot apply this to any other area of your life,
No.
like shifting your perspective.
Totally. Because what if we take our problems, like let's say a money problem, and turn it upside down?
Yes.
And sideways, and this way, and this way. And people say, like, what? Yeah.
Yeah. Or even walking away from it. Like another thing is like to take your painting and not obsess close by and obsess, but hey, walk away from it, take a distance and look at it. And what is your body telling you? We can do the same thing with money. Take a distance from your problem, like, okay, move it away and look at it from eagle perspective or whatever, and expand out, and then look at it. And we might find that we have been so obsessive and like insisting upon fixing something that we have decided already is totally wrong about the painting or totally wrong about the money. And so, yes, of course, we do this. I take everything that is going on in my studio and in the online class. We can transpose it into any area of our life. Like starting a new painting, for instance, people go into, oh my God, a blank canvas. Like, help me. And I'm like, okay, wait a minute. Are you actually really scared or are you excited? Like, wow, look at the possibilities. Like anything is possible on this like square piece of white canvas. Now go for it and engage your body. Use music, which is beautiful, and paint with your entire body. It's like, how do you start the painting is 50 million and plus possibilities. Like go walk outside, find a feather, find a piece of grass, find a dried flower, take it into a studio, dip it into the paint, and then like just gently slide it across the canvas. And it's like, voila, there's the overture to your symphony, right?
Exactly. Yeah. And the same with life. You have a blank canvas of your life. You have infinite possibilities.
Yes,
What
and
we're
see,
going to choose now?
exactly. And when we take the example of the feathers, it's like, what do you have in your life already where you never look? Because you think you are lacking something, but what do you have in your life already that if you really walked through your house and looked at things, you could discover?
Yeah, because a lot of times we look at our lives and we ignore certain things. We don't see them because they're not painful, or they might not be like those like exuberant excitement, but they're supporting us. They're there for us and waiting for us to ask, what can I receive from you? Just like you said with a feather. How can I use that to my advantage? Because there is so many, not just things, but people. A lot of times we have people in our lives that we take for granted. Oh, they're there, and they always will be there. I know when my daughter was young, and she is an incredible teacher for me. Um, she sometimes would be mean, especially teenage years. When she was like 14, 15, especially 13, I would say. And I asked her once, it's like, why are you so mean to me? And she was never mean to her dad. It's like, Mom, but no matter how mean, and I get tears every time when I talk about it, when I'm mean to you, you will not go away. You always have my back. And with that, how many people do we take for granted like that? They will always be there. But what if we treat them just like flowers, just like the nature, and have a communion with them, just like paints, honor and respect? Because to me, painting is about honoring the canvas, honoring the paints, honoring the beings.
Totally.
Yeah.
I got some goat hair brushes, and goat hair is so soft, you know, and so I ordered them, just curious. I saw them and I'm like, oh, like, whoops, there's something that is like a really beautiful invitation. So I ordered them and I received them, and they are just like, I was like just brushing them with my face, you know. And then I bought a beautiful soap for cleaning them, and it's all natural oils, and it's like I'm bathing them when I wash them. It's like bathing a baby, but it's like what you are talking about, this engagement with this preciousness of our materials, like caressing the canvas. It's like I always tell people, when I prepare my space for painting, it's like saddling a horse. You don't throw the saddle at the horse and you are like whipping it before you ride it. You are kind.
Yeah, good luck with that.
Yeah, you brush it, you take care of it, you talk, maybe you have an apple for it or a carrot. And so what if we engage in that way with our entire studio and all our materials, like really like the gratitude for, oh my gosh, I wonder what can I create with you, which to me is also creating with earth beings, because they are from the earth, the goat hair. Like, don't you love goats? I love goats. And they gave me some of their beautiful hair to paint with. I mean, how did I get so lucky, right?
So grateful for you, so much inspiration. And it's time for our third and final break of the show. And you've been listening to Creating Abundance with Ease with myself, Dr. Helen Gitlevich, on Inspired Choices Network. And Inspired Choices Network has now a wonderful app, which is totally free, and you can download it with Apple Store or Android, or I think it's a Google Play. And there is a contest. If you download it and rate it, you get wonderful prizes. And the link is on the website, not on the app itself. I apologize. Live and learn, and we will be right back.
Many of us live our lives based on karma, on the past, and all the unfinished business in our lives. What would you choose if you did not have karma, or if you could choose what you desired instead? By tuning into Creating Abundance with Ease radio show with Dr. Helen Gitlovich, you'll receive tools and inspiration you can use to create the abundance in your life. You are an infinite being with infinite choices. Are you ready to have ease with creating abundance? Listen for Creating Abundance with Ease radio show every Wednesday at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 11 a.m. Central, 10 a.m. Mountain, and 9 a.m. Pacific on InspiredChoicesNetwork.com.
This is the Creating Abundance with Ease show with Dr. Helen Gitlovich. To participate in the program, join our live studio audience in our chat room at InspiredChoicesNetwork.com. You can also make the choice to ask or comment by email by sending to helen.g@att.net. Now, back to the program.
Welcome forward, everyone. I'm Dr. Helen Gitlovich on Creating Abundance with Ease, and today our show topic is Painting with Earth Being with amazing guest Bettina Madini. And what came up for me during the break is looking at the Zoom, looking at our wonderful guest, that we are separated right now, isolated because of COVID in some ways, but at the same time, we are connected even more through the Zooms, through internet. So we became much more global. Yesterday, I did a free Zoom. Can we create what we desire? And I had over 100 people joining the Zoom, and they were from all over the world. And how wonderful it is. And with all of that, when you're in a studio, you're not alone, as I understand from what you, Bettina, said, that you're always with the beings of light, beings of earth, beings of art, paint. Everything has consciousness. So tell me more about that, not being alone.
Yeah.
Or something else, whatever you'd like to talk about.
Yeah, there's I have a story. I have tree stories, a lot, quite a bit actually. There's one tree story that I would love to share. While I was still in banking, still in Luxembourg, every Sunday morning I would go on a walk all alone into the forest. Everybody said, you cannot go alone in the forest. I'm like, why can I not go alone in the forest? There's no problem. And, you know, I have always been like, with nature, there's no problem. I love being out there. So I had this, I developed this friendship with this one tree, a huge tree. And I would go there and just sit by it and receive from it. And I had sort of silent conversations, and that would then expand out into being like with the grasses, with everything that was growing there. And I always had crystals with me. And so I took crystals to springs and was bathing them, and like then talking to the waters and talking to the crystals. Love that, by the way, talking to them, but also being in spring water. And then just sitting there, being there, sort of meditating, and time again stopped, and deer was walking up to me so close that there was obviously no disconnection anymore. There was oneness, and we were breathing together, we were being together. And I received so much from that tree, from the deer, from the sky. And that is a space that we have available all the time. So they are with me no matter where I am. And like when I'm painting in my studio, I'm not just painting in my studio, I'm everywhere. I'm like out in the universe, and like the question really is, what can I paint today? What would love to be expressed, and what beings are here, because every creation is an entity, whether it's a book that we are writing, whether it's a painting we are painting. And so there is this one story I would love to talk about and share, which is it has an interesting piece for everyone in the audience, I think. So I come sometimes up to places in my painting process where it doesn't move, or where like something is odd, something is off. So this was a silk painting, a huge silk painting. I had it stretched out flat on the floor on a frame. It wasn't in the middle of the night, and I've been painting it all day, and it unfolded into a dragon. And so all of a sudden it was like nothing worked. It didn't fit. It's an oblong shape, and I just could not fit the shape into this oblong shape of my silk. And in the middle of the night, I was like having a moment. I'm saying, okay, I'm talking to my painting, right? To the silk, to the dragon. I'm saying, okay, if you don't cooperate with me right now, if you want to make it really difficult on me, I will cut you into little scarves. And there was like, no. And all of a sudden the energy became malleable, and it worked, and it was cooperative, and I could like finish the painting in that very same night. And so there's also in being with like really being with beings from a place of awareness will bring us to these moments where we also have to demand, where we have to step up. I had to step up. I had to say, hey, you know what? I'm the boss. I am painting you. I'm bringing you into the world. I'm happy to create that with you. But if you want to make it difficult to me, well, I can also sell you as silk scarves. I don't have to keep you in one big piece. And so that changed everything. Yeah. And so how much are we refusing to be demanding, or to make a demand, and to step up and be strong, right? And we allow whatever something else to take control, and it's like there's no way. So this was beautiful, and I received that, and I was chuckling afterwards about myself, and I could see all these places where I had avoided that before. Mm-hmm. And now I got it.
I love it, the demand of change. And so grateful for you to be on my show. We have only a couple of minutes left in the show. So I'm going to remind people where to find you. There are websites that will be posted in the podcast underneath the description and the biography of Bettina. So there is a couple of websites. One of them is, you can actually say those while I'm looking for them.
Yes, it is bettinamadini.com for my art. And then my wearable art is on magicalbodies.com, which is a shop where you can also buy them in your size. The Etsy shop, like it's in the description.
Yeah. And next week, we are going to have same time, same place. Can you change your karma? That's our next show. And we'll talk about how you can change all those unfinished business, unfinished contracts, and also talk about the beings who can support you. And you can find out also about Bettina's classes on her website and my classes on creating abundance with ease. You can catch me every day with Rachel Silver on Getting Out of Control Clearings. We just pop in there different time of the day. And it's in a phase group, Being You Without Hiding. I'm doing Global Foundation at the end of April. With Gary Douglas, I'm just doing a pop in my house, and body classes around the world. I will see you next week, same place, same time, and maybe on a new app that you will download from the Apple Store. Mwah.
Thank you for choosing to listen to Creating Abundance with Ease radio show. Dr. Helen Gitlovich will return next Wednesday at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 11 a.m. Central, 10 a.m. Mountain, and 9 a.m. Pacific on InspiredChoicesNetwork.com. We hope you'll join us. Until then, have fun using the tools of the week in your life and start creating magic in your life and your body.